Welcome one, welcome all to another fun and exciting edition of This Week in Pop Culture. My name is Arash Zandieh. Tonight we are joined by an extreme cast of professionals here and some entertaining. We'll let you be the judge of them. With me, as always, is Mr. Michael Bergy. How are you,
What
sir?
up, everyone? I'm doing good. How about yourself, sir?
Doing great. You can catch her every Wednesday right here on Facebook and all things and on Twitch as well too. Drawing and painting all night. Here is the infamous Sammy Castillo.
Hello.
And we are not short of talent tonight, as always. We have the lovely and the face of Bitten Apple TV. We have Miss Leslie Frye.
Hello, everyone.
How's everyone doing this lovely Saturday evening? As much as I like to say, hey, happy MTV Day, because this is also VMA Day as well too. If anyone does care to watch.
Oh,
I haven't watched that in probably 10 plus years, man.
they
All
still
right.
do music?
We can go right to that right in the very beginning. Yes, as of right now, the MTV Video Music Awards are happening, and I didn't give you guys the topic only because I want everyone's opinion on what I'm about to say, pretty much. So pretty much everyone knows that MTV started in 1980, in 1981. Back in 1984, MTV created its first video music awards, and at that point, a music video show, an award show that was different than the Grammys, different than the American Music Awards, on a channel that played 24 hours of music. Charmingly, MTV launched its first music video on August 1st, 1981, with a song by the Bugles called "Video Killed the Radio Star." Today, you don't even see a single music video on the channel. Today, the channel is all about the Jersey Shore, pregnant teens, and drama-based shows. So, what about the music videos? What the channel is based off of, those were days of the past. Today, music videos are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, um, Twitter, just to name a few. Today's music is dead by per se. And today, a Broadway genius, Andrew Lloyd Webber, has given Cardi B a Phantom of the Opera type of remix to one of her songs. While Weber has just crossed over exactly what I wanted to face is, while Weber has just crossed over to the dark side of the high and mighty dollar, which he didn't need anyway, is that a bad move? With Broadway on a standstill, we forget that MTV made millions to billions of dollars for entertaining us by giving us unplugged, singled out, real world, road rules, Yo MTV Raps, Headbangers Ball, Beavis and Butthead, Eon Flux, Daria, just to name a few shows. We also get excited, but now we just get excited that we got to see the MTV Music Awards. As of today, the channel has changed, but they still have their show. Should MTV bring back the video music channel? Let's start with Sammy today.
I mean, I was born into the heyday. I was 2 years old, watching, the Nelsons and Kiss on MTV.
Right.
You'd get the
Kiss took over MTV.
news and, in the 80s. But I mean, personally, I loved watching all the music documentaries because they would do tons of music, and then they would also do toward the late afternoon into the evening, they would do music documentaries. So you had 30-minute basically biopics about your favorite bands and stuff like that. And I mean, I would totally go back and watch that, but MTV bought into the drama mama, the drama llama, ratings. And then VH1 had that kind of stuff, like pop-up video. Who didn't love pop-up video? Right?
Exactly.
Loved it. Literally,
or behind the music.
I know, but then it had all these crazy fun facts, and it was so cool. And then VH1 bought into the same type of TV marketing that, and they followed MTV. So it all just sort of became like drama TV shows. I would totally, watch it if if it decided to go back to nothing but music. Right, Oliver? Even Oliver says that we should do music. See?
We should do music.
We should do music.
Leslie, what do you think about Andrew Lloyd Webber crossing over to the dark side for the high and mighty dollar?
Why?
I mean, this is MTV. They
I think
paid
that
Lloyd
says it all.
Webber a ton of money for Cardi to remix one of Cardi B's songs with the Phantom of the Opera music, and
Which song?
I forget. I didn't want to think about the song, but
He must be bored because
Yeah.
I feel like what
He's
is
a-
this going to offer? It would be different if this was introducing a younger population to Broadway,
Mhm.
But I feel like it kind of debases it in some way. It makes it sullies what Broadway is. I mean, I understand it is pop culture and he wants to get in there, but he's smart enough. And
he is pop culture. He's Broadway.
he's
How many
because-
Tony Awards does he need?
But pop culture honestly is not Broadway. Broadway is a select group of people. There are people who, when
Right.
you were growing up, you love Broadway or you love pop culture. It's two different things. The theater kids loved Broadway.
It's very elitist.
Yeah, I don't know if it's even that. It's just for the creative outlet. Those are the young kids that aspire to do those kind of things. And the kids that were the jocks and the cheerleaders and stuff like that, or the burnouts, they didn't do that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it is a select group. I don't know why he decided to do this venture. I mean, if he's going to do it, I hope it's good. I hope it's worthy. But I just don't know what is going to become of that after WAP.
Maybe he's going for the Grammy. Maybe he's trying that loophole of the Grammys by doing a live performance remix.
Why does he need to do that? The man is capable of doing anything.
Maybe to stay relevant.
Yes. Well, he's already relevant. He's relevant enough. The man is a legend.
Mhm.
So I don't understand why he would even consider doing something like that. Nothing against Cardi B, but the two, to me, it just does not.
All right. So the Cardi B song is called WAP. That's
it's the new one.
the new one. Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Andrew Lloyd Webber remixed that song.
Oh,
Yep.
I was
Yep.
about to curse.
Yeah.
Honestly, okay. Have y'all seen the video?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
depending
What?
on the crowd. I don't know. I can't do it.
I'll sum up the song as politely as I can. It's about these two lovely women, scantily clad, singing about how much they like the big D.
Yeah.
And WAP is the sound effect of their favorite
Yeah.
position.
Yes.
So that's about as polite as I can.
So the remix is called Phantom of the WAP.
WAP. Oh my god.
And it's
Why?
gonna be played tonight on MTV.
How much is he getting paid for this? I mean, does
So
he need any more money? Really? Does he need any more money?
I don't know.
Okay.
I
So
just
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second. Speaking as a creative, where I get pigeonholed into doing the same thing all the time. Joker, Batman, Harley, Joker, Batman, Harley, Joker, Batman, Harley, Harley. Okay.
Joker, Batman, Harley.
Getting pigeonholed into drawing the same thing, and then somebody comes up and gives me this crazy off-the-wall project that I normally would never do, but it's something different, and I'm like, yeah, why not? Because it's refreshing.
But that song.
I mean, okay, but
I will admit to this, okay? If he wrote a new song, I'd be okay with it. If he wrote a song front to back, whatever, for her to sing, 100%, yes, give it a shot, whatever.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, that girl lacks
different.
talent.
But, like, I could see him. He is Broadway. I mean, you say Broadway and people think Fosse and Weber. There are no other people that you think of.
Sondheim.
Sondheim.
And Sondheim. But still, okay, he's one of the first three names you think of. He is Broadway.
Yes.
So I could easily see him like really kind of getting creatively bored, and somebody brings him this weird off the wall project, and he's like, yeah, why not? Who cares? Why not? Do I personally think he should have done it? Like, no. And they must be paying him a lot.
Look, he could have done any other song by Cardi B.
Could have done any other song, but that song is one of the most talked about, most popular songs right now.
He could have picked any other artist though and done something and been more popular with that. And if he wants to get a Grammy, for crying out loud, do a song for a movie.
Yeah,
you could have done something like that. To pick a classless, talentless hack, which we call Cardi B. I'm sorry, I don't care if anybody likes her. The girl is talentless. She's got 2 talents, and they sit on her chest. That's it. There's nothing else about this girl. She can't rap. She can't sing.
A poll.
Well,
I mean, the fact that we have 2 women on here that are actually appalled by the song, let alone are actually offended by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
I am not appalled by the song. I mean, everything.
No, I'm not either.
This is the thing.
Okay.
You know, raunchy music has been around for a very long time. The thing is that it was confined to the juke joints back in the day in the South. You know, people went and heard raunchy music. So now it's just out there, you know, for what it is, and this is what the kids like. I think visually the video is beautiful. The contrast of colors and everything like that. The song is very catchy, but in the sense of marrying Andrew Lloyd Webber to that song, it just is not. I'm not taking it. It's like
it's very forced.
It is.
Like it's not organic. It's not like
you're right.
It's not like two odd people came together and you could see them working because they have the same creative energy. But
like Elton John and Eminem, like how we lived back in the day.
Eminem. They both are, but they both have very strong creative energy. That's correct. The thing. They are both, take out their styles of music, both of them are absolutely amazing songwriters. Absolutely. Okay. So you have these 2 guys that are amazing with lyrics. Their music is different. But Eminem has often made, even from the start, has never done straight like hip hop rap. You know, he's always had a very big musical element to his rap. So bringing in Elton John,
he's an intelligent rapper.
Correct.
There's a difference.
And bringing in Elton John, it made sense. They're opposites, but they came together and they created something amazing. But we could see how that made sense with Cardi B and Elton and Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's like you've got the square hole and you're trying to bang the round thing into it to make it fit, and it doesn't make any sense. Like they don't even have like similar creative levels.
But here's the thing with this, Sammy, though. We're talking about it. So MTV is accomplished and that's what they want to do.
It's already on right now. So while this is happening right now, we have the Video Music Awards happening at the Barclays Center here in New York City. So
why is MTV even running?
He may actually like the song. That's something that we never considered. He may actually like the song.
Yeah. Right. Why is MTV doing a Video Music Award? They don't run videos anymore. It should be a YouTube or something. They should be running a music award show.
Well, MTV, aka Viacom, owns the name Video Music Awards. Even if you put a name in front of it, it's still the idea of Video Music Awards. YouTube attempted this a few years ago, and actually they were shut down by Viacom. And they attempted to do their own Video Music Award.
Yeah,
but
it's why it's called the VMAs and not MTV's VMAs.
Yes.
It's no longer associated with MTV. So it's just VMAs, meaning the Video Music Awards. It's just a general, like, it's not even attached to MTV anymore when they advertise. I don't know if their awards are still the little,
They're still the Moon Men. They're still the Moon Men. I think it's still the Moon Men. I have no idea. Someone can find out and let us know if it's still the same Moon Man that they've used since the 1980s to right now.
Right.
Onto more chaos and everything that is going on. It's pretty much the new Comic-Con, and we're just gonna discuss it pretty much. because we discussed it before, and we're going to say it again to everyone. This is going to be the new norm. Separation is going to be key. A lot of shows are not going to be indoors, and a lot of shows are just going to be outside. So I hope you like jackets, and I hope you like the rain. I hope you like tents. Hope you like tarps. You're going camping pretty much from now on. Sammy, what do you think? You know, since you and I do a lot of conventions, Michael chime in as well too. Since you and I do literally spend 90% of our year on the road, do you actually still think that in 2022 we will have not a full tour, but we'll have enough shows to get by through the year?
Well, I've said this before. You know, this COVID made it the survival of the fittest. And that might sound like a bad thing. But in reality, I think for artists and vendors and even, you know, show promoters, that's going to be a good thing, because we are so oversaturated with Comic-Cons that it's stupid. When I first started over 10 years ago, there was maybe 100, 150 shows a year, maybe a little bit more than that. But now in North America, there's over 3,000 conventions a year. Over 3,000 in less than 10 years. It exploded. And the problem is that our while the base may have, while the shows have expanded, it's still the same rough amount of people going to Comic-Cons, or even less of the people that are used to going to Comic-Cons, because they don't want to pay the numbers. They don't want to pay this. And the oversaturation, we're stretching any money into those 3,000 shows that we had in the beginning. So I think it's going to be a good thing. As far as the, you know, the logistics of putting the show on, in terms of like, you know, social distancing, capacity of conventions, that's going to be the tricky, that's going to be the sticky wicket, as they say, because if the fire marshal will only let 30% of people in, okay, especially speaking from a vendor or a, you know, a vendor or an artist purchasing your table space, some of these shows are thousands of dollars. So 30%, and they would, with a full crowd, so full maybe 40, 50,000 people, paying $2,000 for your booth is fine. But when you're only getting 30% of that 40,000 people, I'm not paying $2,000 to see 30% of people.
Right.
That's ridiculous. I'm never going to make that money back. But the problem is that the show floor space is still going to be the same amount for the convention. They're going to have to rent that space for the same amount of money. So what's going to happen? Is ticket prices going to go up? Our booth space is going to stay the same? In which case, who's going to buy them? Because why would I spend, you know, if I made, say I spent $2,000 on a booth and I had at a 40,000 person show and I make 20,000, that's an acceptable amount of money for me, right? But if I'm only getting 10,000 people, maybe 12,000, because that's roughly 30%. Why would I spend $2,000? You know, why would I spend $2,000 if I'm only seeing 12,000 people? So my concern is going to be, how are the shows going to make it worthwhile for vendors and artists to go to the show with the amount of money that they're going to be paying and bringing people in? You know, I'm kind of, I read in a couple of different articles, they were talking about extending shows like an extra day. So Friday, Saturday, or a Saturday, Sunday show would be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show. So they could just stretch out the attendance. I've read some places where they said not even doing it outside, but having ticket allotted times where you are allotted to go in at a certain time and you have this much time to walk around and then you have to leave. Or once you're in, and it's first come, first serve kind of thing. So I don't really know how it's going to be, but it's going to be really tricky for shows to make it worthwhile for people paying out money to even go. So I'm curious to see, you know, I'm curious to see the reaction of conventions and how they figure that out, you know?
Well, while we figure that part out, Leslie here interviews many of people when it comes to Comic-Cons. So I like to see what like she plans on doing, or what's going to be the next step while you go and interview some of your favorite artists and guests at the next conventions or so. Like, what do you think is going to happen with these conventions?
I think they're going to have to get very creative. It doesn't look like this virus is going anywhere soon, and it took the pandemic 1918 to go for 2 years, and then there was another resurgence of it. So they're going to have to get creative now. They're going to really have to put on their thinking caps and do something different. I definitely see a lot of this stuff being virtual, maybe outdoors. Maybe them having a spring and a fall type of con where they have it outdoors where it's not inclement, but it's like a nice weather or whatever, and people are social distancing. But I think for the next 2 years or so, and at the rate that people are not being compliant, I don't see this being in a convention. And if it is going to be in some type of a convention hall or whatever, the ticket is going to be an exorbitant amount of money. And it will be exclusive for people to come in and meet. Even, your meet and greets with your celebrities is probably not going to be the same type of format. If you do go into that type of a setting, they're going to be doing temperature checks, which incidentally, you all doesn't really mean anything because people could be asymptomatic. So it doesn't mean anything. What we enjoyed back in the day is not going to be the future. And let's just say, Mother Nature has a way of forcing you to think other things, to think alternatively. And that is what's going to happen. So they're going to have to figure out how to do this, even if they do it at a 3D virtual event, or, you pay for the software to watch it or to do it, to actually experience it in 3D method or whatever the case. They're going to have to think of a way to get this done. But I don't see us being in a convention hall. I don't see it being the big cons that had, thousands and millions of people coming in and out the doors for 2 days. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Michael, with the crazy changes going on, we all know Rhode Island Comic Con is not happening in November. Let's just get out of the way again, in case people still forget that if they haven't heard, the New York Comic Con and Anime NYC, which all of us have predicted since, I don't know, April, May, it's not going to happen. Everything that we have also have been predicting wasn't going to happen as well, too. Where do you see the future for even some of the shows that you are involved in?
We're definitely going to see a change in the industry. I do see that. We are going to see a lot of changes coming up with it. As far as, I think, more of the digital and more of the virtual stuff kicking off, I don't foresee that being totally a viable option. DC Fandom went off well, but they also, that's kind of similar if they did it like Microsoft does and Sony does and Nintendo does with video games and stuff like that. They have a certain thing that they did. They did 8 hours of programming that they basically replayed for 24 hours. They made some great announcements, things like that. We've seen what San Diego did, and San Diego dropped the ball big time, one of the largest conventions in the world, where they couldn't get half of this stuff correctly. How are you going to do an online or virtual convention where you can't get the artists, their artwork correct, a JPEG, to put it up there to advertise them? How are the fans going to find stuff? And not for nothing, you look at when San Diego Comic-Con goes on, they get like what, 1 billion tweets over a weekend. They barely had 150,000 tweets over 3 days, 4 days. That show usually like crushes Twitter and everything. So I think there's going to be a lot of changes. I don't think you're going to get a full online convention where you're going to see like a San Diego, New York Comic Con, a Rhode Island MegaCon. All these shows are going to be strictly virtual. We are going to see some changes where you might see some panels might be done, some meet and greet, stuff like that might get done like through that. But will a convention where a family member could sit in their house for 2-3 hours and some panel that they may not be able to ask a question on or do that? Probably not going to sit there, and they're not going to pay for it. So now you think about all these companies, they're paying for all that technology, the space, all that to do. Now what happens if it crashes? They're not making money on this. How are they making money? They have to pay the celebrities, they have to pay everybody to be there, the technical, and they're not making money. How are they going to make money to be profitable, to be future shows? We are going to see stuff with future shows where you are going to see a lot more. I think you're going to see a little bit more social distancing at some shows. You're going to see spaces, breaks in between like booths You're going to see a little bit more aisles are probably going to be a little wider to accommodate a little bit more social distancing. You're probably going to see arrows up and down, try to keep the crowd flowing through a whole show, so it's not just a smorgasbord free for all through the show. I think photo ops are going to change a little bit. I think there are going to be some differences with it, with meeting celebrities as well. We're probably not going to see a full normal 100,000 plus people at a show probably till 2022. I want to say, and that's probably at the best. And when you do see it, we are going to see masks are going to be a more of a prevalent thing. You're going to see everyone walking around with mask on, whether it's their costume, their cosplay, or they just have something nerdy on for masks to protect themselves. I know one of the articles I read says con crud. We all have been in the industry. We know con crud, what it is. It's basically a nasty cold that you get after a convention because you've been around 50,000 plus people over 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Heck, for the last 5 years, we could have had COVID for like con crud at shows. We don't know, you know. So I do
it's
see
the exhaustion and flu symptoms. It's the exhaustion and flu symptoms that you get after meeting 50,000 plus people for the weekend, and then your eyes are pretty much like one eye shut while the other eye's open, and you're drinking like between coffee and Red Bulls for the rest of the day.
Right. And as someone who works at a convention, runs it, and helps run a show, I barely get 4 or 5 hours sleep if I'm lucky each night for like almost a week and a half. So yeah, my body gets a little bit, beat up. I catch a cold con crud basically from it. I think we will see some changes. You're not going to see 3,000 shows next year or the year after. You're going to see a lot of the mom and pop places that were trying to get a show up and running. They are going to start dropping off because they can't afford it. They're not going to be able to afford the venues. How are they going to offset the cost of the venue towards the vendors, the artists? Now they have charity tables. Can they give away those tables? Because now they're going to have a hard time, offsetting that cost. So you are going to see that, and venues are going to raise prices. Obviously, we know it to offset the extra cleaning materials, having somebody clean the restrooms, high traffic areas, high touch surface areas. You're going to have a lot more into it. I do see a little bit of more smaller mom and pop places probably going the way of the dodo bird, and I feel bad for them because some of them actually do a great job of putting on small 1 or 2 day shows. I love some of them. And I visit every once in a while whenever I can. I know you guys all probably do as well. You got that one little show, you meet a few friends there, and it almost feels like you're hanging out with friends, having dinner and having a few laughs. So it's fun,
I love the small shows. I like the one day, one-off shows. Those are always the best.
And those are sometimes you could find the best stuff for if you're looking for a comic for your collection, maybe some neat artwork, a certain toy or something. You get that camaraderie. You might not have that. Maybe some of those little guys might partner up together, maybe make a decent one big show, which I'd like to see too, because some venues have great options, but their con promoter wasn't maybe doing the right thing. Maybe get another con promoter who had a poor venue, put them in there. Maybe they can work together and do something. I definitely see there's going to be some changes. I'm hoping we're not seeing the end of the con industry. I don't think that in any strange set. But I think we are going to see some changes for the next year or so easily.
I can see them, honestly, with the virtual part. I can easily see shows because, sometimes, how do I want to phrase this? My brain's not catching up to my mouth today. Sorry. I'm wording awesome right now. Give me a minute. The gerbil has been working a lot this weekend.
Well, you know what? While you're thinking the word, Sebastian.
Now I know what I'm saying. No, it's fine.
Say it then.
All right. So what I could see shows doing, because I know a lot of people just go to conventions for, say, the panels or their meet and greets or something like that, and they really don't care about walking around and seeing the artists and the vendors. So I can easily see conventions now selling tickets that are only virtual. So you can sit at home and watch all of the panels, and the panels are broadcasted live streamed, and you can ask your questions and whatever, virtually. And you can do like maybe a virtual meet and greet with a celebrity or something like that, as opposed to someone purchasing a ticket and having to drive all the way down just to sit and see the panels. So, and it might be a cheaper amount because you don't have to go anywhere. There's no place where you need to go. So basically for the convention, it's kind of like free money. And then they have like a ticket where it's a location ticket where you pay, $20 for the live stream, but you're paying, say 30 or $40 to go and have the experience of walking around and seeing your favorite artists and talking to your favorite vendors, buying stuff and that kind of thing. I can see shows, if they were smart, explaining something like that to bring in, offset some of that extra, like Mike was saying before, offsetting some of that extra cost with cleaning and social distancing and stuff like that.
Well, Sebastian mentioned before about like 1 or 2 shows happening right now in New York. I have experienced like the outdoor flea market that is in Greenpoint. So unless like they happen to be outdoors, someone testing out the water. Sorry, Sebastian, this water's been tested for the past 2 months. So whoever's doing this now is pretty much days gone, and they're probably taking advantage of the whole Labor Day weekend that's about to be happening soon. But as far as outdoor conventions and flea markets, right now there's outdoor flea markets. Every single state is pretty much having outdoor flea markets, as it's called. It's not a convention. I was involved in the Greenpoint one where they had food vendors, they had roller skates. The only thing missing was cosplayers, because guess what? Comic-Con's also a giant flea market as well too. So I saw a lady selling plants. I saw a lady knitting the whole entire day. And as everyone saw, I got sunburnt from wearing masks and sunglasses at my arms. So guess what? You got to go buy tents, and tents have also been raised in price too. Yeah.
A lot of art festivals are outdoor as well.
Yeah.
I've gone to tons of local art events, in Orlando, that are, back open, and you have to wear a mask on property. There's signs everywhere saying you have to wear a mask even though you're outside. And I mean, I can also see the conventions kind of, smaller, maybe mom and pop shows, instead of purchasing indoor convention space or hotel space, opting for a fairground instead, because at that point you don't have to rent chairs, you don't have to rent tables, and sure, your 10 by 10 booth space is $35 instead of $200 for a 6-foot table, because you don't have all that extra cost.
Look, we
How
know
about
that
all
flea
this?
markets
All
are
these high
successful. Flea markets are successful. They always are. And I think that people like that. People specifically go and drive hours to go to specific flea markets, like in the Catskills and stuff like that. This is still a need for that. People will buy art if we do it in that kind of setting. People will go and travel and do that. They will.
And I agree with you, Leslie. They definitely will. Like, vendors and artists will do very well there because the cost will be down. To rent out like a football size field, like 300, 100 yards, 300 feet, whatever, that's going to be a little bit cheaper because you don't have to have the electric, the heating, the air conditioning bills. You don't have that stuff. So you probably don't have to have tables. You have people show up with their own tables, their own stuff to do that. Now, the one downfall that's going to hinder that is there's not going to be celebs. No celebs are going to go to this. So sometimes, not to be mean, but conventions are driven celebrity wise now. They are celebrity driven. You get a big name artist that gets to a show, that brings in those people with their books, their autographs, that they want to get their old comics done. You bring in a good celebrity, that's what brings in the other fans to get the stuff signed. Also, with stuff changing now, you're going to have to look at what happens if it's inclement weather. It rains that day. What do you do? Like, you can't have it the next weekend. The next weekend they have a monster truck pull there, or they've got something else at that venue. So it kind of hurts. Indoors, it doesn't hurt as much because hey, the building's hopefully going to be safe.
Right.
It's a half of this, 6 of that.
Yeah.
I do think outdoor stuff can definitely be a viable option, especially in the summertime, nicer weather areas where like, hey, June and July, it's maybe we have 1 or 2 rain days for the whole month. We could do something outdoors. Some venues will definitely do that, and I think they're gonna capitalize on that. Let's just see how it all goes.
Yes, it's be tense. Because if you're doing outdoor stuff, you have to go and provide your own tents. And tent prices have gone up by literally 300%. When you could have bought a tent literally last year for 10 by 10 tent for like under $85, now you're buying a 10 by 10 tent with weights and everything else to over $250 to $300, depending on where you're buying it from. You can't find one single tent at under $100.
And if you're looking to rent a tent large enough to overtake like a convention to be that size, those tents almost cost the size of what it would cost to rent a convention hall, honestly, to tell you the truth. And those things are quite expensive. I looked at one in Colorado because we were going to do an outdoor panel room to do it outside. And I looked at the price and it was like a tenth of what we paid for the venue. I was like, that's kind of crazy to have a couple of panels. Yeah. So it's, I think it's good options, but let's see.
There's many new options. There's many new things to check out. You know, someone's going to be right. Someone's going to be wrong. You're going to have rain delays to rainouts. Guess what? It's almost like playing sports, guys. So either you're in it to win it or you're not. That's basically what it is. So, get into some more fun attributions pretty much. Well, we just saw last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, we saw DC's Fandom turning their own event. Could DC Fandom turn their event into their own convention soon? Fandom generated more than 22 million views for their 24-hour event. Well, we all know it made Warner Brothers and HBO feel good. They should feel pretty good about themselves. Just a week back, we had San Diego Comic-Con at home, and the only thing that brought their attention was the New Mutants panel, which brought literally over 200,000 views just for that weekend alone. With the amount of views that DC Fandom brought in, do you think they could actually hold their own convention? Sammy, what do you think? You think Fandom should turn this into like a once-a-year thing?
I think they will. I mean, this Fandom thing is a great example of the new leadership that they have now in Warner Brothers. And if I mean, this wouldn't have happened under the previous person that I don't remember the gentleman that took over, but
Tyler.
Thank you.
Tyler took over.
Yeah. But this is thanks. But this is a perfect example of when you have proper leadership that knows knows what they want and knows not only how to bring people on to get to that destination, but to let those people do their jobs and do them well. This is a big win for the new management in Warner Brothers. And I can easily see them, especially with the fact of all of the moves that they're making with firing and restructuring and everything. I can easily see them making this a year, an every year thing, because they went over all of the DC stuff. I mean, Disney has D23. So why shouldn't we have a Warner Brothers one, a DC one? So I think that they should, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And the cool thing was I didn't get to watch it while it was airing, but I got to watch it after the fact, and it was so much fun. I was super engaged. They had these cool cinematic pan outs and spin arounds, and I kind of thought I was watching a Michael Bay movie for a minute with some of these cinematography moves. I was waiting for something to explode behind Matt Reeves talking about Batman, but it was perfectly done. And I would absolutely love to see something like that continue for DC. I wish San Diego was like that. I wish they would have put that much foresight and thought into it. But I'm excited. I hope they do another one. Yeah.
Leslie, you think Fandom's here to stay, or is this a one-time kind of thing?
So you all know that I have a personal perspective on this. And
this is your opinion and everything, so it's just based on opinion. Granted, someone could have a job somewhere, but it's just a thought.
You can have a job somewhere.
It's a thought. By the way,
I can say this is only the beginning. Watch us. It's going to be something.
Fair.
This Jason Kyler is a huge fan of comics. He is young. He is motivated. He is creative. And the driving machine behind what is now HBO and Warner Media and everything is something that you all have never seen before. I am excited about what's coming down the pike for that company, for DC, for everybody that is working there. I'm excited about it. I feel that you're right. They went in, they cleaned house, they brought in fresh blood. They have a vision of where this company is going to go. And you saw it at DC Fandom. And it's important when you have a leader that's a fan.
Yeah.
Because when you have a leader that's a fan, he's going to do it right. He's going to make sure that He's going to put people in place that are also fans, because a fan wants to see you stick to the script. They don't want you to go off of what we've learned to love, what we've read in comics, what the things that touched our heart. They also feel that energy and that motivation and that excitement. So they're going to keep that momentum up. I'm excited about what's going to happen. I mean, I can't express anything more than that because I don't know. But from what I am seeing from a personal perspective and just from the outwards as a fan of everything, that has to do with pop culture and comics, I'm extremely excited about what's going on with this company.
Michael,
So
you think?
I
Michael,
think it's
yes,
I think
maybe
it's gonna
so.
be no. I think it's going to be something that's going to stick around for a while. They did a fantastic job this year. They were able to get the fans talking about DC and talking about the titles that are coming out, the movies,
in a positive way.
Yeah, exactly, in a positive way. We're not all sitting here yelling. We're not like, give us the Marvel cut. They're like, we're talking about DC now. Like, everyone got excited about it. And it's the same thing, like, as I said earlier, if you think about what, like, Sony's done, Microsoft has done, Nintendo's done, E3 was strictly a digital only, online only. Unless you were in the industry, you never got a chance to go to it. E3 basically is one of the biggest electronics one for gaming out there, where they do a lot of announcements. You see that now, and then Nintendo's broken away, and now they've done their own. Sony's done their own. Microsoft's doing their own. Why not this? Like, Warner Brothers doing this with DC fandom. D3 already does their own, and they're talking about everything. I think this is a fantastic thing. We got excited about movies. We saw future trailers. We got the directors talking about it. The actual celebs out there excited about it, and not just being like, oh, hi, I'm here, we're talking about a panel, yay. They were excited to be there. Matt Reeves talked how long about Batman? Like, that dude,
2
like,
hours,
I was so happy that we got a guy that's into comics and he knows his source material. And he, from everything that I've seen in the trailer and what Sammy broke down last week, I was super excited. I had to go back and rewatch the trailer and go back on Sammy's notes to see stuff that I missed. So, Sammy, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, because it gave
Sammy,
me. But you knew your stuff, and also being in the industry helps. That definitely helped a lot more fans that might have been like, ho hum, like, it's DC. What can they do? They've never done anything decent. But now it came out that the video games looked amazing, the TV series, the movies, the trailers. And I did know Jabo said there's a second one coming up. I know in a couple of weeks they're going to do another one based off, I think, comics and a few other items. Yeah. I'm super excited to see what they're going to come out with that. I mean, I think it's a little soon to do it back to back, but I mean, we got us talking about it in a positive light, which is fantastic for them.
Well, maybe with them doing a second one and it's strictly comic book based, they can finally answer the age-old question of what is actually happening with their comic book line instead of everything else. And that is what everyone fan-wise is worried about. And as we discussed last time, we don't have to sit there and do print media all the time. We don't have to sit there and get the physical comic all the time. We can just get the big binder and call it a day and not waste the $2 to $3 just to get one comic book made. It costs just as much just to get like, the 150-page ones.
Yeah.
I think honestly with DC really took a page out of, Microsoft and Apple. They have this kind of their own, Microsoft and Apple have their own, for lack of a better way to say it, informational expo. And it was originally just to tell the employees what was going on, what new products were coming up. But then press started coming in, and now they're all live streamed, and you get to watch it live. And I think, I really think that's something really good to do for these other companies, like with with Marvel, or not Marvel, with DC, and splitting them up is smart, because you've got DC and then you've got Warner Brothers DC. So there, you got DC Comics, which doesn't make any sense because then I just said Detective Comics. But I digress on that.
Right.
More change. But then you've also got like stuff going on with the films. So, I think it's smart for them to separate them because two different types of people are going to watch them. You're going to have people that aren't interested in the comics, and they're going to go, okay, well, I'll just watch the movie one, and then you have people that are going to watch both. So, and it also doesn't, movies are overshadowing the comic industry, even though the comic industry is the reason we have these movies. And I think it's smart for them to separate it because they're not the films aren't going to be overshadowing the comics. You're going there to listen about the comics. And I know a lot of people would just turn it off and nobody would ever watch the comic section if it was attached to the film part. Or very few people, because that's a lot to watch. I mean, it was 8+ hours of content. So, you know, I think the comics really need to have their moment to shine again. And I really hope that with them doing a second one just for comics in the future of it, you know, even if it's just a one shot, so they can say, hey, everybody, this is our plan. It's still a super smart decision, whether or not it's meant to continue on. It's still a super smart decision and a really concise way to bring the information to everyone all at one time.
I think that it is too, and I think that if you separated it and it made people wait a long time, because people are craving this right now. I mean, it got everybody excited. We want to keep on and ride on this.
Keep that momentum going.
Yeah, keep the momentum going. So I think it's a really smart move on their part to do it that way, and then it's going to leave us wanting more. So then you know we're going to eat. You know, we're going to eat that Eddie Murphy cracker whenever it comes out. If y'all know what I mean. So I just feel like, you know. I feel like that's, you know, I think it's a smart move. I have confidence in what they're doing. I really do. I'm excited about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Warner, pretty much, how about some exciting news, pretty much? Live action Powerpuff Girls in the works at CW. The proposed series would take pretty much, they want to do a Powerpuff Girls series. The proposed series will take place many years late into the Powerpuff Girls 20s. The girls the girls currently at the time regret spending their youth fighting crime. The question is whether they can swallow their resentment long enough to come back together and save the world when it needs most. The original Powerpuff Girls started in 1989 on Cartoon Network, which includes 78 episodes, a movie in 2002, and then ending in 2005. A 10-year anniversary episode aired in 2008. The animated reboot relaunch on Cartoon Network happened in 2016, and the first episode was viewed with more than 81 million viewers at the time. The season 1 of the Powerpuff Girls reboot also won them an Emmy for Outstanding Short Animated Program. That series also introduced a fourth Powerpuff Girl called Bliss, and that included with just 3 seasons, and it ended in 2019. Do you smell that? Yeah, I smell a Riverdale crossover there too. Who's excited for the Powerpuff Girls series? Sammy, yes. Did you watch
Absolutely
Powerpuff Girls?
Not.
No, you're not.
Absolutely not. No, it's so dumb. That premise is so stupid and undermines everything they did in the animated series. To make them 20-somethings, the whole idea about Powerpuff Girls were these young girls super excited to save their town. Okay, and then you make them jaded a-hole adults, and not even adults, those 20-somethings. And we all were 20-something. We know we were just giant know-it-all a-holes that didn't know our butts from our elbows, but we thought we knew everything. And you're centering these hero girls now regretting all of the magic that they did in the TV show that we grew up on. It's undermining all of their characters. Like, if you want teen angsty crap, go make a teen angsty crap and leave the Powerpuff Girls to be what they are. If it was a live action show with 12-year-old girls running around kicking ass and taking names, I'm behind it 100%, because that was the magic of it. Now you're just making it Riverdale with Powerpuff Girls, and that's just like, no, like, don't make it real. You're pulling out what we love about it and making it real. So, like, no, absolutely not. I think it's going to be trash. That's what I have to say.
I agree with Sammy. I have a feeling I have a feeling that whoever is creating this is not a fan of the original Powerpuff Girls because they wouldn't change the dynamic of it. The thing that we love about it is that they are who they are in the animated series, and that's what gets everybody to this, even to this generation today, loving the Powerpuff Girls. This is going to go the same road as Josie and the Pussycats and Jim. It really is.
Oh,
I
but if you're getting started on Jan and the holidays,
So bad.
I'm so. I would love if they were going to keep it as is. I would be interested to see how they do that. But obviously, this person that's creating this is not a fan, and it's going to try. It's just going to.
It's taking the innocence away. What was Powerpuff Girls in a way? There was so much innocence.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and I don't understand why there is this drive and this push for us to see teen angst or 20-year-old angst or Beverly Hills 102 point whatever that is. I don't
902.0.
That's what I don't.
Beverly Hills 902.
Yeah, whatever.
Beverly Hills
902.0. Which I didn't watch. I am.
90211.
I'm a fan of Riverdale and I'm a fan of Sabrina. I really love that, but it is. I just don't feel like this is the same fit as that, and it just is not going to work. I'm not. No.
It's going to be a dumpster fire.
So forget the live action. It's like a reboot kind of thing.
Well,
Michael, thoughts?
Yeah.
I've caught a couple episodes here and there for the Powerpuff Girls. It was never my cup of tea. I never got into it, I guess. It just wasn't mine. But I definitely agree with everyone here with saying, let's make this in and we're going to make them 20-something teens. And come on, I don't need MTV, VH1, BET, what's some of the other channels that do all these teen angst TV dramas? Like, that's all it's going to be. They're not coming up with anything new. Come up with a new story, a new plot line. If you want to make it an animated cartoon or a CGI cartoon, I could understand that. But you're going to make it live action, you're going to just ruin what the original creators had intended. And the storylines are just going to be just not right. They're going to make it today with everything. It's just not going to fit the mold. I just think it's a bad idea. But it's CW.
Here's a smart thing that you should go by. If something is still in syndication, leave it alone.
Yeah,
because obviously, if it's in syndication, people love it. There is a fan base for it. Somebody made a comment about rebooting Charm. Charm is already out there, and they have changed it to Latina X type of crowd. But I'm not watching that because I like the original Charm. If I'm going to watch Charm, I'm going to go watch. I'll pick up something online and look at the old original episodes of it. So
I actually watched the new Charmed. It's actually quite good, and it's nothing like the original. It's not like they're trying to redo the original series. It's its own thing.
How much, though, of a fan base does that have as opposed to the original one?
The original still has a stronger fan base compared to the others.
I casually watched the original, but I was a kid when I watched the original.
Well, that's still the same thing. Like they wanted to supposedly rumors they want to reboot The Office. I wouldn't reboot The Office. It's probably the #1 streaming thing on the planet, no matter what country it is. Rebooting it would be bad.
You already stole it from England, turning it into a U.S. show. Right? Now you're going to do another version. How does this work again? Okay. Yeah. Look, my whole...
There's no imagination out there anymore. It's sad.
Yes. Yeah, as I said, no originality. My whole thing is, how are you going to put back Mojo Jojo? That's all I'm going to say. How are you going to put Mojo Jojo into the damn series? If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the series.
The whole thing with the Powerpuff Girls was the hilariousness about it was that these girls were fighting these crazy, epic, mean monsters, and they were these super happy, optimistic, cute, and bubbly girls. And no matter how much evil these bad guys did to them, it's such a ridiculous degree. You had the sugar, spice, and everything nice, always like, yeah, we're gonna kick butt and take names. And so having that dichotomy in the script was hilarious because it was taking the superhero genre that we knew to that point and then just stretching it out and making it a bit sillier, like in the extremes. So, but taking out that's what their magic was. You know what I mean? Like the Powerpuff Girls no matter what, they lost their powers at one point, and they still went and fought Mojo Jojo. So their power was their optimism and their like girl power kind of thing. And then to take it away and make them regret the fact that they did all of that, it's literally destroying the entire basis of the show. At that point, don't make it the Powerpuff Girls. You don't need it to be Powerpuff Girls. Make it something else.
The emo girls? Call it the emo girls. I have,
I don't know.
let me get the pressure and everything else.
I would watch a show called the Emo Girls. But
Emo girls. I mean,
right.
You might as well.
If you're a fan of Powerpuff Girls, right? Powerpuff Girls, when you think of that, you're like, yeah, it's happy girl and puffy clouds and big eyes and whatever.
It was cute. I know how many girls like end up buying their favorite characters were.
But that's the thing is Powerpuff Girls. You hear that title, you think cute superhero girls.
Yep.
Okay, you say Powerpuff Girls, and then you get 20-something angsty, bitter a-holes.
Yeah.
What do you like? Why? I don't want to watch that. That's that's real life. I have enough of that in my own life. Why do I want to watch a TV show about it?
That's a one season if it makes even 13 episodes at best.
I totally, it's the fact that I agree with the one that you put up that that networks, network heads, they're too scared to try something new. So they want to take this thing that has been proven, and then they're like, no, but so let's take this awesome kids show, but we need another because we canceled that one CW Teen Angst show. So let's make this one that instead. But it's the Powerpuff Girls, so they'll watch it because they like the Powerpuff Girls anyway.
Well, see, that's
just for laughs. So just for laughs and everything else, what about Blue's Clues? Why don't we just take Blue's Clues and butcher and turn it into a live action? No.
Go ahead, Leslie.
No, but I was going to say this. This is why networks are failing because they're not taking risks and they're not doing things that are innovative or original. That's why they're failing. That's why, the Netflixes and the Amazon Primes and all of them are running circles around them right now.
Yeah, because they're taking risks. They're willing to take those risks because they're listening. They're listening to their people, their fan base.
Well, I think the other thing also, a lot of these, like Netflix, Hulu, all these channels are doing, they're also taking instead of a 22 to 24 episode season arc and stretching a storyline and really dragging where some episodes are just trash. Yeah. They're doing 10, 13 episodes, 8 to 10 episodes, and they're giving us better content, better writing, better acting, and you're getting the fans that are going to do that. I'd like to see some of them do it instead of just dropping everything on one day. That's hilarious. But instead of dropping everything one day, do like Disney Plus did, where you have to tune in every week to still watch it. Right. So it does get you to watch that show every once in a while instead of just binging it one weekend. After 2 weeks, no one knows about the show anymore because they forgot about it. But that's
But even still,
so we got to go to the next one anyway. Everyone, all you guys all agree that forget Powerpuff Girls. CW shouldn't even do this. Don't even attempt this. It's all about the high and mighty dollar, and you guys all say, "Hell no!" Well, recently, not too long ago, we were all introduced to the Suicide Squad. We're gonna go through the list of some of the characters and everything. What are you guys looking forward to? Who do you think is gonna die first? Who's gonna die second? We can play the Deadpool card, especially with the cast or characters, we'll say, that's going to be part of the Suicide Squad, and we'll have a little fun in saying who lives, who dies, and who makes it to the very end. As we all saw, Margot, we're just going to go through the list of character names. Margot Robbie, who comes back as Harley Quinn, lives, dead, makes it through. What's going on?
Of course she's going to live.
She's going to live.
She's printing money for them.
She's living.
She's living.
They need her to live.
Did you guys? All right, Captain Boomerang.
I think he makes
kill him off finally or no?
No.
He lives, dies.
I think since he made the cut from the first one. I think bringing him back as part of the comic relief, they're gonna keep him around.
Yeah.
He also made the cut in Birds of Prey, literally being on the wanted poster.
So this is the third film he's in, which means he's a fan favorite.
Fan favorite.
And James Gunn has obviously paid attention to that. So he's gonna survive that.
Which tragically means he might be the first one killed.
All right, Rick Flags. Does he finally get? Does he stop being captain of the team, or whatever, or does he make it through the end or not?
Joel plays an amazing straight man, so they're gonna keep him.
Yeah.
And
You
he's
mean
super
RoboCop?
popular from Altered
I
Carbon.
agree.
He's
Okay,
a name
fair.
now from the first series of Altered Carbon. So
Phenomenal series. Love that
Yeah.
series.
All
the
right,
second series, on sidetrack because I'm enraged. The second season of that was absolute trash. Just watch the first season and forget the second one even existed.
okay,
We may
fair
go,
enough.
we may go now back to the original topic.
All right, Bloodsport, aka the other version of Deadshot.
They're
No,
not
he
gonna
doesn't
do
live.
Nah.
He lives.
He's
He
too
lives.
handsome of a man to do that.
I mean, you never
Women
know.
all over
All right,
the world would boycott it. They're like, Idris Elba died. No.
all right, Mongol. Semi makes it, not makes it.
Depends
We're playing a
on what
Deadpool
role
game
he's
pretty much, guys. So
playing.
you guys can all chime in saying who lives, who dies. So we already got Boomerang lives, Shark King lives, Harley lives. They're safe. Peacemaker, aka the John Cena character.
No way in heck they kill him off. No
Oh,
way.
No way.
No way.
No, I see him.
Yeah.
Billions character.
He's not a DC character, so they can easily kill him off.
Yeah.
But it's John
He's-
Cena.
But that's the thing. John Cena's going to be there for a while because ladies like to watch.
Oh yeah,
Ugh.
he is an eye candy.
So you're saying he's making it to the end, sort of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will. Yeah,
All right, Javelin,
Dead.
dead. Wow, who's playing him?
Javelin is played by
Oh,
Fula
Fula
Borg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see them. I could see him being an expendable one.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
we
Well,
also
is
got
Mongol-
Shark.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Yeah.
answering the thing you popped up. A Mongol, like, is Mongol going to be the villain, or is she
No.
part of the team?
I think she's part of the team.
I can
Well,
see the
actually, to be honest, Sammy, I think you were the only one that read the synopsis that said this was like this is brought into the 1970s. Like this storyline for Suicide Squad jumps to the 1970s.
Right.
Was there anything else that you've read into the thing? Is this going to be like villain versus villain? We're gonna stick like
honestly, they're just
Time Machine
focusing,
involved multiverse.
right now. They're just focusing on all the characters. There's really nothing. They talked about the setting and bringing James Gunn, basically bringing all of these like outer rim, obscure characters into Suicide Squad, like Dotman. Dotman wasn't even in Suicide Squad. He's a ridiculous Batman villain. But the interesting thing is all of most of the characters he's pulling are from old 60s, 70s, 80s comics. Or Fillion's character is not even in the comics. He's a brand new character. Nathan Fillion's character.
Nathan Fallon. Well, we'll go through that in a second. Shark King.
I'm not, but they're
King
not
Shark?
saying anything
King Shark.
about
I say
the
he
plot
lives.
of the film.
I think he lives
All right.
too.
All right, King Shark. Sammy lives.
He's 50-50 for me.
All right. As
They're in
Sammy's
two
favorite.
fully animated characters. Him and Weasel
Sammy-
are what?
We know, but Sammy's favorite, Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man,
Does
yeah.
he live?
Yeah, he's my favorite next to Condiment Man.
Man. All right.
I think Polka Dot
Blackguard.
Man dies.
You know
Man
what?
dies.
No, ridiculous. I could see Gunn making him like the pivotal, the pivotal character that saves everybody.
Uh-huh.
How hilarious would that
Believe
be?
it.
He's such a write-off character. Like if I was James Gunn, I would totally make him like he would be the subtle like key character like Samwise. Samwise Gamgee in Lord of the
Okay.
Rings was a write-off character, but he literally was the only character that saved the day. If you look at it, Frodo wasn't the hero; it was Sam. So I could see him taking like Polka Dot Man and doing something very similar, where Polka Dot Man he might sacrifice himself and die, but he's literally the only reason the team survives. I would totally love that. That would be my favorite movie if that happened.
All right. So what about Blackguard?
Blackguard.
Who's playing
The
Blackguard?
Pete
That's
Davidson
Pete Davidson.
character, also Pete Davidson's character, is also one of the Superman Lex Luthor's henchmen in the Superman series.
I think he bites
He's
it.
similar to Deadshot. He bites it.
He's
Yeah.
but he's also a tie-in to bringing in Superman and Lex
Superman.
Luthor. So
Yeah, so he may be.
he's one of those 50-50 characters. Where
You
I
have
can't
Black-
be like he's gonna die.
So you have Blackshot and oh my god, and Bloodsport as the two Superman characters to tie in a Superman series.
And
All right,
Mongal.
so he lives.
Yeah,
Mongal.
Mongal,
Yep.
I should say. I could see them
Gal,
killing.
sorry.
Well, here's the thing, though. I could see them killing her character because she is that flip-flop character. She's the bad. She's the ultimate bad that kind of sided for her own reasons to the good and then bad.
Mhm.
But so I could see her being the betrayal kind of archetype in the story because she's capable of that as her character. But she's the only other female on the team.
Mm.
And
Okay.
and as a to hit that demographic, she's also there, even though she's an alien, she's played by a woman of color. And I can easily see them going,
Yeah, I could
let's
see them
not kill the
choosing
woman of
her.
color.
She's gonna be like the Ada Wong of Resident Evil. So
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I think, quite honestly, with the setup that they have, I could see them killing Nathan Fillion quite easily. But with Mongol, I don't.
We haven't
I
even
think
got
they
to him yet. You're jumping ahead.
Well, you're too
You're jumping
slow.
ahead.
I
No,
can see
you're
her
jumping
being
ahead.
the flip-flop character. She's going to be
Michael-
the betrayal of the team, I think.
Then you have Savant, aka the Michael Rooker character.
I could see them killing him.
With that.
He,
Leslie.
Yeah, I think he might die.
Uh,
Because Michael Rooker is a character actor, and he's going to probably do somewhere to buy. So I think this is just like a one-shot deal for him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right.
I think he's a one-shot
He's just there to
character.
fill in the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just here just to fill in James Gunn's pockets, pretty much, and just give him a job.
But he's probably there as a favor to Gunn.
No, how about this? How about Sean Gunn's character, Weasel? He almost reminds me of Ron Howard, pretty much.
Weasel's like I said before, it's typically the fully CG characters. Those one of those two is going to die, and it's going to be whichever one tests the lowest with fans.
I think it's Weasel. I think it's Weasel.
I think
The fact
Weasel's
that
dying.
everyone's excited for King Shark.
But the thing is that Weasel could also be the next Rocket, because everybody hates when the raccoon Rocket, right? Rocket.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I could see him sticking around. I also could see King Shark eating him. So
Yes,
there's
that I can see.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
and that would
we
be
should
funny
just
because it's already happened. He ate like Yojo or something, and then the character lived in King Shark. Yo-Yo. And then the character
Yo-Yo.
lived in King Shark, so that would be kind of funny too.
all right. We also have the Thinker, which is the Peter Capaldi character. Leslie, start with you. Lives, dies.
Dies.
It's Peter Capaldi. You're letting Doctor Who die? Doctor Who
Right.
dies.
Yeah. I mean, listen, not everybody can survive. It is the Suicide Squad. So
It is the Suicide
I'm
Squad.
thinking that this is not a continuation for him.
True. So everyone agrees. The Thinker dies. Then you have Ratcatcher 2. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think Thinker makes it till almost near the end, and then he does something. He miscalculates something. And he ends up dying. But I think he does too.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Where because he's such an arrogant character.
Yep.
He's like, oh, it's obviously this, and then it's not that, and he's like 0.001 decimal off.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then blammo, and no more Thinker.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Sammy's favorite, because she can't stop talking about him, is TDK, the Detachable Kid, played by Nathan Fallon. I mean, his superpowers is both his arms detach himself. Does he live? Does he die? Or do you see him taking one of his arms off and beating someone with it? I can see. To be honest, I can see him taking his arm off and killing someone with the arm. I also see King Shark eating it.
I
also
also
see
see
the
King Shark
Thinker.
eats his arm.
Right, I think King Shark eats it. I also see the Thinker using the arm by some reason whatsoever. I see the rats chewing on an arm by Ratcatcher. There's endless possibilities with this character. And as Sammy pointed out before, this is not a DC character. This is, what was it again, Sammy?
Comedy relief.
He's comedy relief. He's an original character. The closest thing, the closest character he had was to the closest in the comparison rather is Arm Fall Off Boy, which was a DC character, believe it or not. But he's too comic relief. Like, he's so out there that he's gonna do something stupid and die. And but that's honestly, when you see Nathan Fillion in a show or in a movie role, I'll say movie role, that's the role he plays. He plays the goof, and they die pretty fast. Yeah. You know, so I could easily see them, killing him pretty quickly. If not being the first one to die, one of the first to die. Is he going to die in a hilarious Nathan Fillion way? Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
You know what? That's what we love, and that's why he's
gonna get it.
That's why he's detachable arm guy or whatever his name is.
So do you guys think that there will be a Firefly joke somewhere in there with Nathan?
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't
it's
think
James Gunn. James Gunn's got like little jokes here and there they like to shove in there.
Yeah, it's James Gunn, but it's also a new Warner Brothers film. And that's gonna they've got new oversight now, so you don't know. I mean, if he can put it in there, I'm sure he will. But the last few times Nathan Fillion's been in there in a film or whatever,
there was never any joke about his Firefly days. So
I think he's a bit over it.
We'll get to see pretty much. So we're all, I guess it seems like we're all excited, especially with fandom going on, DC and everything. You know, some of us just can't wait for Suicide Squad to happen. So we can get to the next topic, which will probably be disclaimer for everyone. Recently, not too long ago, we did lose one of our beloved and favorite characters. We did have the passing of Chadwick Boseman. So if anyone doesn't feel like watching anymore, we will be discussing a lot of Black Panther and a lot of Chadwick starting from right now. And if you don't feel like watching, please change your screens, turn the page, read a book, watch the MTV Awards, or you can just go on ABC right now and watch. Or you can go on ABC channel right now and watch the uninterrupted version of Black Panther that is currently being aired as of right now, because we will be discussing Black Panther and the future of what'll probably be happening. So disclaimer, please. With Marvel still sticking to their Phase 4 schedule with the Black Widow being released on with November 6th. WandaVision coming out in December, Eternals on February 21st of 2021, the What If and Loki series coming out in the spring of 2001, Morbius, which is coming out on March 19th of 2021, Shang-Chi on May 7th, Venom, the list goes on, pretty much continuing, but Black Panther is still listed on their Phase 4 schedule to come out on May 6th of 2022. While plans and story have not been official yet, this is for sure. Black Panther plans to change the key role with how does Black Panther plan on changing one of their key members who happen to be part of the Avengers and is a current phase for the Black Panther storyline? One thing is for sure, who will take the child's place? Does Disney, Marvel make a quick storyline introducing the new Black Panther, but only time will tell. Will this quick release happen before the filming? Who knows? But some people have already speculated to have a female Black Panther take its place. They are referring to T'Challa's sister, Shuri, who at one point, if you read the comics, makes her own Black Panther suit. Would you like to see Shuri take the mantle of Black Panther? If it's not her, who do you think will chime in? And guess who also decided to join us as well too is Mr. Mayhem himself. Thanks for finally joining the Video Club, young man. Right? 55 years later. What? Your mic's not even on, dude. No, your mic's not even on. So as we like to just continue, and we'll wait for Mike to chime in. Leslie, let's start with you. Where do you think Black Panther will go on? Do you see Shuri taking up the mantle, or do you see Marvel maybe changing place? Can we hear you? I don't know.
Shuri actually does take on the mantle of Black Panther. You know, if you read the comics, she's always wanted to fill that position. She also is a fan favorite. You know, people loved her in the last movie, and I think until they regroup and they figure out who they're going to recast in the role of T'Challa, I think that that's probably the best plan to go, is to follow the Shuri narrative as she takes on the reins. But those two characters, both Chad and I'm at a loss right now just because of this whole thing, but those two characters made that whole film. The dynamic between the brother and the sister made that whole film. And outside of everything else that was epic about it, one thing that people really loved and appreciated was that their relationship. So I can see them going that way until they regroup and until Coogler and all of them figure out what they're going to do. But I think the Shuri narrative is probably the best bet.
All right. Mayhem, since you finally joined us for our last segment for the evening, where do you think Black Panther is going to go from here on in? Do you think Shuri will take the mantle, or will they get someone else?
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Barely.
Very low.
But we'll just be quiet. So just come closer, like super close to a microphone, like super close.
That's probably my microphone.
All right, we'll get back to you in a second then. Let's get Sammy.
So, it's actually already not common knowledge, but it's already out there that they were going to be phasing Chad out as Black Panther anyway. And Shuri is actually taking up the mantle. And he has previously voiced his disappointment with basically getting his mantle taken away. So she's already going to be taking it because Marvel is really embracing female lead characters, and so you've got female Thor and everything, so they are definitely bringing her in as the next Black Panther. So there's not really any sort of speculation on that at the moment. And the interesting thing that I'd be interested in seeing how they're going to transition it over, how they're going to explain his the ultimate transition. And the easiest way to do that is to basically have him in costume and die on camera as Black Panther, and have a stunt double or whatever, and then her stepping into the role is probably most efficiently the way they're going to do that. And Disney, of course, already said they're going to do a strong send-off for his character. So T'Challa will likely completely pass away in honor of Chadwick, and then it'll move forward with Shuri in the new direction that they want to go. They already said they're paying awesome respects to him, as they should, because he definitely made, he changed the entire face of the superhero genre with his role as Black Panther. So they're gonna definitely do it right and do him proud.
Just an interruption, like in the series itself, in the comic series itself, she actually took on the mantle when he was away, or when he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like if he was doing some type of a diplomatic mission as T'Challa,
right?
Because nobody knows that that's his alter ego.
Right.
He would definitely put on the mantle and do that. So I think T'Challa. What they'll probably do is that he is on some kind of a diplomatic mission, because T'Challa, his storyline continues, and I think that they're probably going to recast that at some point. They're going to find somebody that is as incomparable as Chad was, But Shuri always took on the narrative. She wasn't supposed to, which was the funny thing about it, is because she didn't actually have it taken over. She didn't actually, the reins were not actually given to her as a female, because the right went actually to T'Challa.
Right.
But she puts on the mantle, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, all the mistakes that she makes as the Black Panther
Yeah.
in the female role. So I think Letitia Wright, I think, has the chops and the comedy chops as well to make this work.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Bergy, what do you take on the direction?
It's an unpopular opinion. I don't want to see Shuri take on the role just right away. I would like to see that the fact that Marvel finally gave a African American a lead in a Marvel movie that meant a lot to everybody that is a person of color. And Chadwick did a phenomenal job with that role. Absolutely one of my favorites of him in all the Marvel movies he did. I want to see Shuri get it. I just don't want to see her get it just like, oh, hey, next movie, 5 minutes in, Black Panther dies, it's handed over to her or something like that. I can understand if it was like a crossover, like one movie at the end, he hands her the reins and it goes on and she does it from there on forward. I'd like to see a couple other actors that I think that would be a good fit that could probably take the role. One of them is a gentleman by the name of Lance Gross. If anybody remembers him, he's done Hawaii Five-0, MacGyver. He's been on a bunch of different TV shows. The dude is fantastic. He's an action guy. If not him, it's a guy from Leverage, Aldous Hodge. And if you look at both of them, they both have the similar look of Chadwick Boseman, and I think would fit in that role and could do that well to get into that transition. I understand they want to go with the female character, and Marvel is all about the female power, and I'm all for it too. But I just think just giving it to her with no real crossover and handing the reins from one to another, I think it's just going to be a little weird. And I don't know if that movie will do as fantastic as it would have been as Black Panther handing it off to her at the end of the movie. And then, hey, the next one's on you. I've got other stuff to focus on with, Wakanda being a part of the country or the world and being more of that role. And she takes over the mantle. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a little soon for it, though.
So you're waiting for a good storyline in order to have that transition. The girl's already ready. Let's see what Mayhem has to say. Mayhem, what do you think?
It's a hard pill to swallow. Chadwick Boseman, RIP, because you know what? I appreciate people. I appreciate what they do in life, especially when it's positive. I appreciate who take their talents and their profession very seriously and also give back. So finding out what he was going through while still giving back to the community and giving back to other people was genuine. It was just like, it was heartbreaking. And one of the things that really, this is how I know he was genuine and so positive, is that I wanted to meet him. I'm not like a big star crazy. I want to meet people and everything, but I wanted to meet him. And I felt so sad because it's like, I can never meet him. I can never say I met him. Even if it was like hey, I met Kid from Kid and Pay back at Tower Records, okay, downtown Manhattan. I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I really was a kid. He touched my head. I was like, oh, don't touch me. I don't know you. But like Chadwick Boseman, and it seemed very humble, very intelligent guy. He understood, and he said in his speeches, like, the role that he played. As far as Marvel's Phase 4 plan for Black Panther 2, I'm kind of with Bergy. I don't want it to happen so soon. Shuri does take over. He becomes the king of the dead for a reason. I'll let you guys find that out. She becomes the Black Panther. And I would love for that to happen, because what better story, what better comic is there to talk about women empowerment and how women are just as good as kings or queens or than in Black Panther, and then having him kind of go through, like, I had to leave my father's image and shadow to kind of become a better king, but also I had to listen to the women around me, and I really feel like they were gonna build that, and now it's kind of like the pill that we all have to swallow is, if they decide to go that road, we have to accept somebody else. Mm-hmm. We have to accept somebody else as Chadwick Boseman. And it's a lot harder than to accept a new Joker after Heath Ledger, who's just as impactful, who's just as, you know what I'm saying? And
Well, there have been other Jokers behind them. Just people forget that you had Cesar Romero and Jack Nicholson prior to him as well too, and people
Can I
forget
go
that
off topic and say
it's also
something real
just a
quick for
role.
that? Just for that,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
know people give Jack Nicholson the credit and they're like, oh, he's the inspiration, but Heath Ledger blew it out the park. Okay, there is no competition, in my personal opinion. And I'm not saying Jack Nicholson is a horrible actor. He did great for what he was given and for the time period. But Heath Ledger controlled you. Like you forgot it was a Batman movie. You forgot. I didn't get that from Jack. Now
What,
he may have
what,
taken it from Jack, but then that's kind of like Michael Jordan and Dr. J. Dr. J changed the game. Michael Jordan took that change and ran with it. So when we say who changed the game of basketball, yeah, Dr. J gets thrown out, but Michael Jordan comes first, not Michael J. Excuse me.
Heath Ledger
So
made
as you're
you
talking
grab
about
your heart.
change,
He grabbed your
right? But
heart
so
as
at
the role.
Yeah.
right, but
He
as you
did.
talk about change, we'll stick to Chadwick Boseman. What change do you think has impacted any community by his work?
I think, first of all, hearing that an all black cast was working on a movie from there on,
Forget
and
that.
then millions.
Real quick. Man held and didn't tell anyone while working on 2 movies, having 4 years of cancer is to me the best. Like, who can do that? Hold on to himself, not tell anyone that he's sick, do 2 movies, and still not tell the rest of the world, hey, don't pity me. They're basically that man. I'm sorry, he left us a hero. He didn't say pity me. So
He
go ahead,
he
Michael.
also
Finish.
visited cancer patients as well.
Yeah,
That's the crazy part.
yeah.
So so okay. There's so much I can go for, and I feel like you're gonna ask everybody else the same question. But for me, it was being part of an all
This is
black cast for a black
right.
movie. I was one of the millions of people who was constantly checking on Twitter and Instagram for like little things that they were doing, like the Get Out run and all this other stuff. Like all those things, and I was like, I can't wait for this movie. It's gonna be great, and it was better than great, and it was just like wow. And then I was one of the people who dressed up for it.
Right.
People.
All right.
I didn't think
Well,
I'd be this way, but he did
no,
so much for us, and it's a hard pill to swallow. I'm sorry.
I think
I didn't
no.
think I'd be this way.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
what Mike
You're
I
fine.
think what Mike is trying to say is for Black people, it was a moment of unity that we have not experienced since the 60s.
Yep.
And it was so impactful to us to see a representation of a Black superhero. We've been fed white superheroes all our life, and there's nothing wrong with that, but to actually see a strong nation of Black people unified in a world, especially in America, when there is so much racial tension. That movie changed everybody, even white people. People went to go see that movie and they were like, oh my God, this movie was like the greatest. You have to understand, as Black people, it touched not our hearts, it touched our souls.
Right.
So he did that. That cast did that.
Yep.
Insurmountable. The man that Chadwick is, the Black man that he is a representation of what we should all aspire to be as Black men and women. Having lost my mother to cancer 3 years ago, to know that this man did 4 movies, that nobody knew about it. And I want to shout out to his circle who did not even release it to the press. How horrible that would have been to release that to the press, to this man's personal struggle, because going through chemo, and there were a lot of trolls online that were making comments about how he was looking and everything. It's such a horrible thing for him and the family to go through, to see it. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody that struggle. It's a horrible struggle, but just to know that this man kept that energy, kept that smile on his face, kept doing his community work, No one knew. No one knew. And it says something about the magnitude and brilliance of who this person was, the individual. You know, so many actors want to take the acclaim for themselves, but I don't feel that this man did that. I think this man was giving in every aspect of who he was, even as an actor. And he continued to be creative. And I remember I watched him on Larry King one time, and he asked him if he had a superpower, what would his superpower be? And Chadwick said that his superpower would be to freeze time. And Larry King asked him, why would you freeze time? He said, because I could freeze a moment, a special moment, and then I could go around and do everything that I needed to do, like fix little things that I needed to do, and then come back to that moment anytime I wanted to. Mm. You know, I wish that was all our superpower right now. Because I would freeze the moment that I saw that movie and it made that impact on me. I would freeze the moment that I was introduced to this wonderful actor. You know, when I saw him and Get On Up and playing James Brown, or, you know, the Jackie Robinson story, I would freeze that moment. There's not going to be anything like that, and it's not going to be anything like him.
Let's continue with Sammy. Sammy, how has Chadwick Boseman's life work impacted you, or what was your favorite movie that you've watched?
I think my favorite movie that I've seen so far with him, because I haven't seen his last two films, the one where he's the detective and then the last one. I haven't seen those, but I'm gonna say, not just for me being impactful to me directly. I mean, yes, it is, but more so because it opened the eyes for the entire world. Black Panther did in seeing, you know, what the African American community can do. And it wasn't one of these films where you're, you know, like making fun of funny, you know, things in your community. And it was a film that was relatable to everybody. You know, you didn't need to be a part of a specific community to watch it and be touched by it and have your eyes opened to it. You know, anybody could relate to it. And like, you know, definitely like Leslie said, you know, I of course can't speak to it in the way that she can, but it was amazing to see the impact it had, and watching something that had never really been accomplished before and how it changed the world. Because flat out, Black Panther changed the world. You've got, you know, I was so proud to be in a generation of creators that celebrated not only, you know, white superheroes, but celebrated all superheroes, whether they were white or male or female or black or, you know, anything. And it opened up so many eyes to diversity of characters and diversity of people, you know. And instead of having, you know, African American kids running around as you know, Captain America, you've got white kids running around as Black Panther. And it was an amazing thing. It was amazing. And it made me proud that this diversity is now coming together to just being acceptable. For, you know, if it's your favorite character, who cares if it's white or black or Asian or Spanish? If you love this character, go look up to that person. And and he was the face of that. And the thing that I loved about him as a man was the fact that he didn't take the credit for himself. He shared the credit not only with his fellow cast members, but he shared it with the crew, and then he shared it with his community. Like, he shared the accomplishment with the entire African American community. And that right there is something that is a once in a generation, once in a lifetime kind of person. And there will never be another Chadwick, and there won't be anybody close to him. And that's okay, because speaking from experience of having to take care of somebody that's dying for years, you don't say anything, especially as that person that's sick, because you want some semblance of normalcy. Because having a disease to that level, granted, Tommy didn't die from cancer. He died from diabetes, which is just as bad. Your entire life is nothing but this disease. You live and breathe this disease. You go to 12 doctors in a day sometimes. You have hours and hours of medication and procedures that you have to deal with. I absolutely can see why he didn't tell people. A lot of people speculated because it was because he was afraid of financial and losing his job. And you know what? When you're staring a terminal ailment in the face, pardon my language, but the last thing you give a fuck about is your job.
Mm-hmm.
It's
you
that
care about being normal. You care about being normal.
That semblance of normalcy. It's why Tommy was sick for years before we even said anything, you know? And the only reason we had ever said anything was because he needed a transplant. Otherwise, we wouldn't have said anything. Because when you talk to fans and when you look to somebody, you don't want them seeing your disease. You don't want them seeing diabetes or cancer or you dying. You want them to see you as you, not as your disease. And that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what people do, is they see the disease, and that's not what he wanted. And so there's a lot of people that were really upset that he didn't share his plight. But I absolutely agree with him. I absolutely agree with the family to not have said anything. Did it take a massive amount of strength to do that? Absolutely. But you know what? He was a man of courage and character and conviction. And it takes that kind of person to say, I need to do what I can now because I know I'm not going to be here in a few years. And that's what gave him this push. That's what gave him the perspective and the drive, because he knew there was a super strong chance he wasn't going to be here in a few years. So he needed his fire to burn as bright as it possibly could. And it's the same thing that I experienced with Tommy. Tommy knew he was going to pass away soon, and again, not making it about Tommy, but I lived the situation that Chadwick and his family have gone through, being of someone of note. And I absolutely 100% agree with the choices he made in the last 4 years. And so take for it what it is, the level of courage and conviction that man had to have surgeries, to have chemo, and then to go on set and act his ass off. Because for him, that's where his joy was. That was his normalcy. And that was in his brain. I know, again, because I was married to somebody that this situation happened. He knew that all of these moments could be the last moments he had. And you look at it, especially from an outside perspective, because again, I'm obviously not my husband and I'm not Chad, but you look at them and you see, I absolutely look at that man and he's like, I loved Chadwick before, but I love him even more now because the strength and the courage that it took for him to do these things. And I will absolutely say he's one of my heroes now because of it. He is absolutely one of my heroes. He was always somebody I admired, but he's one of my heroes because of what he had to survive and what he gave to everyone with the time he had left. He didn't cry. He didn't piss. He didn't moan. Oh, woe is me. I'm sick and dying. Nope. He kept his mouth shut and he did the best he could. And it's so sad that he's gone. It's excruciatingly sad. And unfortunately, I know what his young wife is going through. And I know the numbness she has in her right now, having to pick out what funeral garments he's going to wear and have to, deal with the fans and the outcries and stuff. But the fact that he made such an impact It's sad he's gone, but don't look at the fact that he's gone. Focus on the fact of what he did while he was here. He did more for the world and the African community in the few years that he was acting than most people do, no matter their ethnicity, in their entire lives. And I choose to focus on that rather than the fact that rather than the sadness of him being gone, because just imagine what the world would have been like without him at all. We wouldn't be having this conversation. There would be no Black Panther. That level of unity for the world that he created, that the whole cast created in Black Panther, with everyone, with any ethnicity, would not even be here. We wouldn't even have that. So, I choose to celebrate, yes, there's always going to be the sadness of him not being here and what he could have done. But instead of focusing on that, focus on what he did. That is what we need to focus on.
All right, Bergy, your thoughts on Chadwick and his accomplishments and one of your favorite movies by him.
I mean, everyone on the panel has said pretty much what I would want to say about what he's accomplished and what his life has meant. I don't really want to go into it all anymore because I feel like it's a very somber moment, and but some of his movies that really I loved was 42, where he played Jackie Robinson. Like, I'm a baseball nut. I love baseball movies, and to finally be able to see that movie on the big screen and to see Jackie Robinson and this actor that I followed a little bit, I saw him in TV shows here and there, and I saw him play Jackie Robinson. He did a spot on, interpretation of Jackie Robinson. I thought he did a fantastic job. I liked him in Gods of Egypt. If anybody remembers that movie, he played Toth, and one of my favorite characters in the movie because of his quirkiness and the way he did it. And he was a man that wanted to know knowledge, and he was the god of knowledge in Toth. And I feel like that's the way he lived his life and the way he did everything with trying to, accomplish what he did in his career with the movies, the roles, the legends that he did. I absolutely love that movie. I thought it was a great, quirky little movie, and his role in it, I thought was perfect. He's done those. Like, I love Black Panther. I loved him in Civil War when he finally got a chance to see him. I thought the man was just a phenomenal actor, and to put on what he did where we didn't see it and didn't know about it, and that man went about his day like, nothing was wrong. God bless him, man. Seriously, that's something I never could do. Like, I just know I couldn't have. That he's a stronger man than I am. So that's me.
I gotta give him one little nod and everything. The fact that he didn't take the cushy roles that most men were taking at that as his stature will say, where when it comes to learning about a character, he wanted to know more about his character. There's a reason why he quit a lot of his soap opera gigs. There was a reason why he was written off on a lot of other TV series as well too. He didn't want to play the stereotype that literally put him as the criminal will say. He wanted to play a leading man, and he fought tooth and nail by even Denzel's example. Granted, Denzel gave him his education as well too. He learned by Denzel's example to be a leading man. And by being a leading man, he had to be an example of that leading man. You can't deny his roles. You can't deny his work. You can't deny a single thing that man has done. And especially within the last 2 years of being on his 2 feet while sick, while no one else knowing. And forget the people that sit there and be like, oh, look at how he looks. Those are people that don't know what real hard work is. That is like any generation. I see my father doing the same exact thing, even to his last breath or whatever. That person is going to go and make sure that they put a smile on someone else's face before their light extinguishes. And he put a smile on everyone's face before his own light was distinguished. You cannot deny that human whatsoever. I know for Marvel and all the fans out there, it will definitely be a big shoe to fill, but Chadwick embraced that, when he said, I looked up to all my sports athletes and I got to see, the black hero being weared on white people's bodies. When their favorite sports athletes were honored by whites, he got that same feeling when white and Asian kids put on a Black Panther costume and they want to be Black Panther. He felt like that athlete. He felt like, as Mayhem said, he felt like Dr. J and Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson all rolled into one. And that is something that most people don't, unless you're an athlete. He's the closest thing that people got to an athlete where he got to feel, he got that feeling, he got to feel that feeling as that athlete. He's more than just an athlete. He was a voice. He was a hero. He was a hero to many, and he will continue to be a hero to many. Does anyone else have any more to say? Mayhem, you seem like you.
I just want to say I'm happy that there's been a lot of revolutionary change for my culture, for my people in my generation that has stemmed from previous generations that's going to move on. I'm happy to have been here to witness this. I'm happy to witness Chad, Letitia Wright, Michael B. Jordan, the whole cast, Viola Davis. Like, they gave it their all. The director, oh my goodness. Like, you there's a little joke that we have in our community where there's the good sofa that's wrapped in plastic, right? Nobody sits on a good sofa. It's in the living room. It's there to admire. Nobody sits on a good sofa. You sit in the dining room or wherever else.
Right.
The Black Panther, for me, the DVD is the good sofa. I have it, and I've never opened it. I'm sure I could get on Disney Plus now. Before, I think it was on Hulu or whatever. But it's one of those things, because I'm one of the guys, I don't like digital anything because you can always lose your license. But I have the physical copy of it. That, and when Obama and won the election in the newspaper, these are things I want to pass along to my kids, for the culture, for the generation. Different things for different people. But this is it for me. This is my time capsule to my kids, and I'm glad to have it. So thank you, Chad. Thank you, Chadwick. Mr. Boseman, thank you for being a hero. Thank you for everything you've done. I wish I'd met you. And I know, me personally, I'm going to write a letter like I did to Martin Lawrence, and I hope it helps your family in their time of need.
All right. Well, how about this, guys? If you guys need to find us, there's a nice little scrolly thing happening right there. That's all of our social medias. That's Leslie. That's Mike Mayhem. That's Sammy Castillo. That's Michael Bergy. My name is Arash Zandieh. Thank you all for watching, and we hope this helps you in any which way. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next Sunday. Thank you.